Welcome to the Know. I'm Ashley.
I'm Mica.
We felt a disturbance in the force, as if millions of voices cried out in terror and were suddenly listened to? I don't know, that's weird.
That's very strange.
That's not how it normally goes.
No, not at all. So if you've ever wanted to see an alternate version of New Hope where the Empire decided to, just turn off the Death Star and go back to the drawing board.
Maybe not kill planets people at a time.
Exactly. So we might actually have that in Star Wars Battlefront 2.
It's exactly like that. Following the rough launch and all the subsequent drama that surrounded the game, catching even the attention of Congress thanks to all those loot boxes,
wow.
It looks like EA and DICE have gone completely back to the drawing board to overhaul the game's progression mechanics.
Yeah, and the big headline here is that microtransactions are, you heard that, are coming back to Battlefront 2. But
we knew that they would,
right?
But,
yeah, but they will only be cosmetic this time.
Oh,
Gee,
great.
it only took them, 5 months for them to figure that out?
Yeah, but so, yeah, you're not going to be able to buy loot crates or star cards anymore. With real money, you will have to earn experience points in-game to buy stuff like your new ships or your heroes, your job classes. So this just goes to prove that, hey, if the internet gets rowdy enough, sometimes maybe good things happen. Usually it's bad things.
Yeah,
but sometimes
right.
It's good things.
We're not gonna count every rowdy internet success, but EA announced the changes in a new blog titled Revamped Progression is coming soon. So, well, that's right to the point.
Well, good, great.
Yeah.
Basically, without coming right out and saying it, EA admits they fucked up, and they're gonna try and make things better.
So here's how they put it. Since release, we've been hard at work making changes based on your feedback to create a better game for all our players. Today, we're happy to announce that Star Wars Battlefront 2 Progression Update, which includes a complete redesign of the in-game progression system, will be rolling out on March 21st.
And it's actually, honestly, you look at it, it's a pretty huge reversal for the game in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
The gist is that items that affect gameplay like star cards, which grant you things like new heroes and abilities, can now only be obtained by earning experience points by playing the game.
Yeah, meanwhile, purchases with real money will be limited to cosmetic things that change the appearance of your character, but nothing that affects gameplay. Pink Darth Vader?
Almost like everything the people were specifically asking for, which was that, just cosmetics.
Yeah.
EA wrote, with this update, progression is now linear. Star cards or any other item impacting gameplay will only be earned through gameplay and will not be available for purchase.
And this addresses one of the game's biggest complaints, that the game under its previous incarnation was pretty clearly pay to win. And while microtransactions make a lot of money for EA and other publishers, gamers clearly drew a line in the sand when it came to Battlefront 2.
And look, pay to win it's a really popular buzzword right now. People use it at the drop of a hat. Sometimes, not always appropriately, but in the case of Battlefront 2, it was pretty well earned. Some of those star cards offered some perks that really added up to be significant. And if you could just drop a bunch of money and get access to a ton of star cards and play the odds, yeah, you ended up ahead of the game. So that's not great. This is a much needed change. The loot boxes, if you missed all that, man, that started a huge backlash. It overshadowed pretty much everything else about the game when it came out. Game looks pretty great. Don't care, pay to win. The outcry also prompted lawmakers in the US and elsewhere around the world to announce that they're going to start looking at possibly regulating loot boxes the same way they do gambling.
So yeah, the fallout from this was pretty far-reaching, which prompted this insane backpedaling from EA. Okay, so that's the background. Now back to the changes that EA is making in Battlefront 2.
As part of the revamp, you'll earn experience points for the classes, hero characters, and ships that you choose to play in multiplayer. If you earn enough experience points to gain a level for that unit, you receive one skill point that can be used to unlock or upgrade the eligible star card you'd like to equip.
Meanwhile, loot crates won't include star cards and they can't be purchased. EA wrote, crates are earned by logging in daily, completing milestones, and through timed challenges. Inside of these crates, you'll find credits or cosmetic items such as emotes or victory poses, but nothing that impacts gameplay.
Also, starting next month, players will be able to buy appearance changes and cosmetic items using either real money or in-game credits that, again, you have to earn in-game.
That's also a nice development and seems to be taking cues from games like Overwatch that gamers have had less of a problem with when it comes to microtransactions. So if you want to update your appearance, you can spend money or earn it in-game.
But if you've already amassed a trove of heroes and weapons and star cards, even if you shelled out money for them, well, yes, don't worry about those. You will be able to keep them. EA wrote, what you have earned will still be available to use with this update, regardless of how much or little progress you've already made.
In summing up the changes, EA wrote, "These changes are a major step as we continue to improve the core of the game and add new content. And there's a lot more to come. In addition to continued balance patches, we will also add a number of modes to Star Wars Battlefront 2 in the coming months, offering several standout brand new ways to play."
So, in short, more content, more cosmetic options, less pay-to-win mechanics.
Yay!
That sounds pretty great. That sounds like what everyone wanted. So, congratulations, Internet, you won this one. Of course, the other big question is whether or not the return of microtransactions are going to put players off, or if this new progression will get people to return and reinvest in the game, because a lot of people saw the pay-to-win and decided not to stick around. I mean, when they were stripped away in the first place, which, just to be clear, was like the day of launch. So it was really only the early access players who would have had too much access to the pay-to-win mechanics. The thing is, when they were stripped away, for a lot of people, it didn't get rid of the other big problem. And that was that everything in the game was kind of grindy. It felt like they were pushing you towards paying for the rewards instead of playing for them.
Exactly, so it'll be interesting to watch how EA's investors react to this move, business-wise. When the game released, the outcry from gamers took its toll on the publisher. EA's stocks dropped to the point where the company lost almost $3 billion in valuation because of the backlash.
Well, at that time, industry analyst Michael Pachter said, clearly investors are voicing their discontent by selling the stock.
And while EA's stock price has recovered in the time since then,
I mean, hasn't it gone on to be like near an all-time high?
Yeah, and
unfortunately, it did not impact them long term.
No, and part of that was due to the promised return of the microtransactions, which investors knew would bring in more money.
So now that the return is pretty soft in comparison to what it was at launch, there could be some disappointment on that side from the investors who don't care if you're having a good time as long as they're making money. Even today, EA stocks are down about 1% since the return was announced. So you would have expected it to go up if people were happy about it, but I don't know, 1%, that could be normal market fluctuation. So we'll see what it does over time.
Regardless, that initial drop got EA's attention and prompted the revamp of the game that we're seeing now. So EA clearly had a lot of money tied up in Battlefront 2, and this is an attempt to win back gamers' hearts and ideally get them to take a second look at the game.
Maybe if not their hearts, at least their tolerance.
Right.
They're not the only ones who maybe had to learn a hard lesson about microtransactions either. And since this whole Battlefront 2 fiasco, a lot of developers and publishers have commented about how they watched the situation unfold and the lessons they're trying to take up for their next projects, basically what not to do.
How many publishers came out and said, "We don't have loot boxes.
Yeah.
We are not EA."
That's a selling point now. Like State of Decay 2 is like, we don't have microtransactions.
Yep.
God of War is like, nope.
Right, so whether or not the changes will actually happen is anyone's guess, but at the very least, EA seems to have gotten the message that gamers don't want pay-to-win mechanics.
What do you guys think about these changes to Battlefront 2? Is it a step in the right direction? Is it, I don't know, is it enough? Will you be willing to give the game a shot? Let us know in the comments.
And for all your EA Battlefront 2 news, be sure to like this video, and if you're new around here, subscribe to the know. I think I may pick up the game for the first time.
You know, it looks really pretty. It does.
It looks
beautiful.
pretty, and I like Star Wars, so.
I like the space combat. I like flying around in a ship.
Space is fun.
It's pretty dope. Will not be available for purchase.
And this addresses one of the game's biggest complaints, that the game is under its